You know the feeling, right? We've all been there. That moment of total frustration when the system you need is down. That big project is late again, and the IT department just feels more like a roadblock than a partner. It's a really common story, but here's the thing. It doesn't have to be your story. What if you could actually turn all that chaos into a genuine strategic asset for your business? All right, let's get into it and see exactly how that's done.
So, first things first, you've got to know what you're dealing with. You have to diagnose the problem. The sources lay out some pretty classic warning signs that your IT might be, well, in a state of chaos. Let's quickly run through the big ones, the ones that really keep business leaders up at night.
It always starts with the most fundamental thing, just keeping the lights on. I mean, when your server goes down, it's not some small technical glitch, is it? Your entire ability to process orders just grinds to a halt. Your customers can't get what they paid for, and boom, just like that, you're losing money and you're losing trust.
Okay, so what if things are running? That's not enough. IT has to actually deliver real value. But how often do we see these big, expensive projects go completely off the rails? They cost way more than planned, they take forever, and when they're finally done, they don't even do what the business actually needed in the first place.
And oh, let's talk about the money. For so many leaders, IT spending just feels like a black box that's totally out of control. You've got these complex software licenses, endless maintenance contracts, and all kinds of surprise costs popping up. Without a clear picture of where that money's going, the budget just keeps creeping up, year after year.
And this right here really gets to the heart of the problem, a fundamental disconnect. See, the business has its big strategic goals, but IT is off in its own world, just fighting fires. And that gap, it's usually caused by bad communication and really fuzzy requirements. It means IT isn't a strategic partner. It's just a service provider that's struggling to keep its head above water.
All of this, it paints a pretty bleak picture, doesn't it? It's just this endless cycle of firefighting, frustration, and frankly, wasted money. So, the million-dollar question is, how do you break free from that?
Well, the answer isn't just buying some fancy new software or throwing an even bigger budget at the problem. Nope. It's about a completely different way of thinking about and managing your IT.
The solution is a framework, a new philosophy really, called IT governance. This is all about making a shift from being reactive, fixing things after they break, to being proactive and intentionally steering IT to meet clear business goals.
Let's break that definition down a bit. IT governance isn't just a list of rules. It's a structure of relationships and processes, and it's designed to do three very specific things: add real tangible value to the business, intelligently manage risk, and make damn sure you're getting a solid return on every single dollar you spend on technology.
Now, that word processes is absolutely key. But great processes don't just appear out of nowhere. Frameworks like ITIL organize them into what's called a service lifecycle. This whole approach shifts your focus away from just managing technology to delivering the end-to-end services that your business actually uses. And to do that, you need some solid building blocks.
So, according to popular frameworks like ITIL, a process is a set of coordinated activities. It's about taking your resources, your people, your tech, and combining them in a smart way to produce an outcome that creates real value for a customer. This is the engine that turns that chaotic IT effort into a strategic business asset.
And you can always spot a great process. How? Well, you can measure it to see if it's actually working. It produces a specific, predictable result every single time. It always has a customer, whether that's someone inside or outside your company. And it kicks off in response to a specific trigger, not just on a whim.
Okay, so if we were to pop the hood on one of these well-oiled processes, what would we actually find inside? What are the essential moving parts that make it tick?
This diagram from the source material lays it out perfectly. A truly solid process isn't just the work itself. It's actually made up of three distinct layers. You've got the controls that steer it, the process where the work actually gets done, and the enablers that make it all possible in the first place.
So let's start at the top with process control. Think of this as the management layer, the brain of the operation. This is where you define the goals, the official policies, and all the documentation. And critically, this is also where you assign an owner and build in feedback loops to make sure the process stays on track and keeps getting better.
Next up, we have the core of it, the process itself. This is the doing part, the actual activities and the step-by-step procedures that people follow. This is where you define specific roles, track metrics to measure performance, and identify improvements to make everything more efficient over time. And finally, none of this works without its foundation,
the process enablers. These are your resources, the people, the tools, the budget, and your capabilities, which are the skills and the knowledge your team needs to execute the process successfully from start to finish.
Look, a great process design is one thing, but a process without clear ownership is really just a document sitting on a shelf collecting dust. So let's talk about accountability. Who is actually responsible for making all of this work? Now, two really critical roles often get mixed up: the process owner and the service owner. Let me give you an analogy. Think of the process owner as the person responsible for the health of the assembly line, making sure it's designed well and runs smoothly. The service owner, on the other hand, is accountable for the car that comes off the end of that line, the final product, the service that's delivered to the customer.
So the process owner is looking inward. They are the guardian of the process itself. Remember those out-of-control costs we talked about? This is the person who gets a grip on that by making sure the process is efficient and that people are actually following it, which eliminates waste and nasty surprises.
The service owner looks outward. They represent the entire service to the rest of the business. They're the person who tackles that big misalignment problem head-on, making sure the service they deliver actually meets business needs and provides real, honest-to-goodness value. They own the outcome.
And this really brings us right back to where we started. This whole structure of governance, processes, and clear roles, it isn't just about making IT tidier. It's about making sure that your IT actively sustains and extends the organization's strategies and objectives. It's about turning IT into a true competitive advantage. So the final question I want to leave you with is this. When you look at your own organization, what do you see? Do you see a collection of chaotic, costly activities? Or do you see a set of well-defined services owned by people who are accountable for results, all driving the business forward? Is your IT just a cost center, or is it truly a strategic asset?